I have allowed myself to get too busy to make YouTube videos again. I will try and keep on top of everything. It goes through my mind regularly, things that I should make videos about and the fact that I haven't made a video for a week or two. So I just wanted to update you on my decluttering challenge, and although I kind of gave up when we got to maybe day 26 or 27, something like that, as you know, I kept losing count. I do have a wash basket here full of things that I've just been around the house and collected up, and I think I counted about 16, 17, 18, something like that, more items to leave the house. So I'm still on that journey. I'm still trying to get rid of stuff because there is still too much stuff in the house. It still needs to go. I think when you stop this process, well, for me personally, when you stop this process, you lose momentum, and I need to keep going. It's very good whilst I was making the videos. It was very good for me because it did force me to maybe get rid of something that I might not have done. So I will give you an example. This has already been counted within the challenge, but it's still in my home. This is a Jack Wolfskin jacket, and it's almost new. It was my husband's. He never wore it, and he gave it to me, and I did wear it a couple of times. When we went to Norway, and it was perfect because it's a really lightweight jacket, so it could go underneath another jacket, so it's kind of like an extra layer. But I've decided I don't need it. I'm not going to wear it anymore, so I put it aside as part of the challenge. And the reason it's still in my house is because I spent time thinking, shall I put this on Vinted? Is it worth my while? Will I get any money for it? So anyway, I've just been onto Vinted because I have found that men's wear doesn't seem to sell quite as well as ladies' wear. So I've just been onto Vinted and typed in Jack Wolfskin to have a look and see, you know, what's there. And I think I probably could sell it, but I'd probably get maybe £5 for it. So now I'm weighing up the pros and cons as to whether it's worth the effort for a fiver. It's a shame because Jack Wolfskin is, you know, it's not a cheap brand. It's a very nice brand, and it is a shame because it's probably worth way more than a fiver. But I understand that when people buy things off Vinted, they've got insurance and postage to pay, so it's going to be bringing that up to maybe £8 for someone. Would I be better off just putting it into a charity shop? Let the charity make the money. That really does make far more sense, and I want to be a generous person who, and I think I am. You know, I have been very generous over the years, but right now I'm in a stage in my life where I'm having to watch the pennies again. Through choice, you know, I have chosen to give up work, and we can afford for me to give up work, but I also have to be aware that I can't just waste money and spend money willy-nilly. So what I do normally with my Vinted account is I sell a few things, I build up a bit of money, and then I've got that money there when I want to buy something, and it's kind of works quite well. But because I've been de-junking, I don't want to keep buying new things. And so I've said to myself, perhaps we should forget about Vinted, because as soon as you've got some money in your account, you start looking at things you could spend it on. I did get up to £71 recently, and I transferred it straight into my bank account to stop me spending it. But yeah, but at the same time, you know, when you've got good stuff, I've got a top here to go to charity, which is brand new. It's still got the labels on, but I still, again, I think I'll only get £5 for it. And I'm doing the same. I'm thinking, shall I bother putting it on Vinted or not? So this is the battle that goes on in my mind. And I have decided right now that these things are going to go. I'm not going to try and sell them for £5. If you put them on for £5, people knock you down to 4 or 3. And in the past, I thought to myself, let's time. How long does it take me to parcel it up, put a label on it, walk down to the lockers, put it in and walk home? And I thought, well, maybe it took me half an hour. Would I do half an hour's work for £5? Well, I used to. I used to be on not much more than £10 an hour. So it used to be roughly my going rate. Also, I might not just walk down to the locker for the sake of posting them. I might wait until I was going that way anyway, you know, so it's not completely just work. But this is the way you need to look at things, you know, is is the effort that I'm putting into this worth the money that I'm getting out of it? Anyway, I've decided that I would like the charity shop to benefit from these items that are practically new. They can get a little bit of money for them, and they're going to a good cause. So that's what I'm going to do. Because, as I've told you before, when I do these challenges, I need the stuff to be out of the house as quickly as possible. And if I'd have put that Jack Wolfskin top straight into a bag, like I did with everything else on the day that I did that de-junk, it would have been gone by now, and it would have been out of my mind, completely forgotten about. So I'm just bagging stuff up as we talk. So that's what I should have done. I shouldn't have allowed it to lay around my house for another 2 weeks with me looking at it thinking, shall I try and get some money for that? I completely understand, you know, there are people out there that really do have to, in order to, you know, make ends meet, they need to sell things and make a little bit of money that way. I totally understand that. There are people out there that are trying to, you know, save for whatever, and that's their way of doing it. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position where if I'm careful with my money, I don't have to worry about those few extra pounds that I might get by selling these things. All I have to do is spend less. And I do, that should be easy. You know, I've been in a position before where I have not been able to spend much money at all because I haven't had it. And so I know that it should be easy. I feel as if this sounds terrible. I really do. I don't know why, but I feel as if this sounds terrible. I spend quite a bit of money going out for coffee with friends. It's what I like to do. And, you know, a coffee is around about £5 these days, quite often. And so I might do that a couple of times a week. That's £10 a week, you know. So I could be saving £40 a month just by not going out for the coffees. And I am trying to do that less. So I have got a few friends that I'll go to their house for coffee, and then they'll come to my house, and we can still have a really nice coffee. We've got lovely coffee machines, and we can have a nice coffee for a fraction of the price, and we can still have the company and the chat. But then I've got other friends that for some reason I just want to go out for coffee and have a little browse around some secondhand shops. And I am a little bit of a shopaholic, I guess. I do enjoy spending my money, and at the moment I'm spending it on my grandson. Because that's stopping me from buying stuff and bringing it into my house. But I think what I'm going to do with this channel now is talk about my low and no spend challenge, because I'm spending too much on my grandson. And I really don't mind if my daughter says to me, oh, do you know, so something that happened recently was the sun came out in the UK. The sun suddenly came out after months and months of miserable weather. And she got out his sun hat, which was too tight. And she looked for some summer clothes, and he had outgrown them all. And so I said, look, come on, we'll pop to the supermarket. I'd like to buy him a new sun hat and a few little items of clothing. And she allowed me to do that, which I appreciate, because she doesn't expect it of me. But I like buying for him. And, you know, if he needs things, I'm happy to do that. But then there are other times when I just buy stuff and I don't need to. He doesn't need things. I'll see them in the secondhand shops. I do love a secondhand bargain. It's part of my eco-friendly attitude is to buy things secondhand wherever possible. But I'll see books and toys and things, and I think he just doesn't need these. I'm buying them for me, really. I'm thinking that's a nice looking book. I'd enjoy reading that to him. Or that's a lovely toy. But he will play just as happily with, you know, anything. In fact, he'll play more with the things that you don't want him to have. And my daughter sent me a little video of him today playing wonderfully with a little cloth that she was trying to wipe the table with, and he'd got hold of it and was having great fun because he knew he wasn't allowed it. So I need to rein myself in a little bit and stop spending money on my first grandchild because I love doing it. So therefore, the you know, now the minimalist challenge is out the way. Now the decluttering and getting rid of stuff kind of challenge is out of the way. We are on to the low and no spend. And I was going to start May. You know, I was going to say, oh, it's 1st of May, let's start a new challenge. And, do you know, I failed really quite pretty much on day one. So let's focus on spending a lot less, buying a lot less, and bringing less stuff into the house. And I will continue to try and take stuff out of the house. So that's where I am at the moment. And that's the future of the channel for now, just for this next month or so. There are loads of things I think about making videos about, but they're not related to what the channel was initially about. So for example, I have recently been focusing very hard on my blood sugar level. And I have had some revelations, and I thought I'm kind of quite interested to make videos on this, on how things that cause spikes in my blood sugar level and what I've learned, you know. And then I think that's not what my channel's about. People might not be interested. I don't want to set up a new channel just about diabetes and blood sugars. So I decided not to. And then what was the other thing? I thought, oh, and at the moment I'm really enjoying trying to have free and frugal items to amuse my grandson, because I have been in childcare for a long time, so it's it's all in the back of my head. There's all these old things that we used to do with children, and I want to bring them back to do with my grandson. And I'm thinking there might be people out there that would enjoy hearing that, ways to entertain your children without spending any money, with just using what you've got around the house. Because although most of us know it, sometimes you don't think of it. You just need someone to remind you and think, oh yes, that's a good idea. But then I thought that's not really what this channel was about, but in a way it is, because these things are eco-friendly, because they are reusing and recycling old products, and they're frugal, which is a little bit of what I'm about. So I might do that, but then I think it's the child aspect. It needs to be people with children or grandchildren that might be interested, but we'll see. Anyway, and with regards to moving, that's not happening at the moment. And we flip-flopped backwards and forwards for about 5 years. Should we move? Should we not move? Should we move? Should we stay? Basically, all that happened was we saw the house of our dreams, if you like. We saw a house which just had if we wrote a little list of what we want when we're moving, it ticked all the boxes. It had everything we wanted. And it was on the market for a couple of weeks, and we were amazed it was still on the market. We expected it to sell incredibly quickly. So we inquired about it, and the estate agent said, do you want your house valued? And we said, yeah. So they came around to value the house, and we were saying, if we're at the moment, we're happy to sell. We arranged to view the house that we wanted, and they rang us up on the morning that we were to view it to say they'd accepted an offer and it was sold. And so we sat there thinking, well, what should we do now? Shall we still put this on the market? Shall we still concentrate on selling this and getting something smaller? And I think what we've decided to do is to continue with the kind of clearing out, because we've got nearly 20 years worth of stuff in this house. It really needs clearing out and tarting up a little bit. So I think that's what we're going to do for now. Carry on getting rid of stuff, touch up the paintwork and things like that, because we're happy here. It suits us. It is too big for us. But there's no major reason to move, really. So we'll move as and when the time's right. For a very short time there, for about 3 days, it felt like it was really meant to be. Everything seemed to be happening. It's a whole other story, which I might decide to share with you later. But everything seemed to be happening. I thought, oh, wow, it's just meant to be. I believe in God. And so I thought, it's part of God's plan. And then everything came to a grinding halt. It was like hitting a brick wall, and it clearly was not part of God's plan and not meant to be. And I still believe that if it is meant to be, it will happen. The house that we are meant to have is out there, but I don't want to, I'm not too fussed, I'm not too fussed about moving at the moment. When you've been in a house for this long, the thought of just clearing it all out, bagging it up, boxing it up and moving is exhausting. Just thinking about it is exhausting. I think that's partly our age as well. My husband and I have got to an age where everything feels like hard work. When we were young, we were like, yeah, let's move, and thought nothing of it. It was easy. So that's where we are with that. Gosh, I'm making a long video today. I'm really waffling, but skip through if you're not interested, stop watching, switch off, whatever. You might not have got to the end, who knows. But there you go. I just thought you might want a little bit of an update on what's going on now that I've suddenly stopped uploading Min's Game videos. That's what's happening. See you soon. Bye.